it's Elizabeth from Elpis Astrology at elpisastrology.com. Thanks for joining me today. So this is going to be my take on the astrological forecast for 2022. But remember, we all have free will to choose what we want to do or what we don't want to do. I'm just really giving you the energies as I see it, and then you decide what you feel is appropriate for you. So when we start off with the big news for 2022, the biggest news really is that the transiting north nodes of the moon, and so these are our collective destiny paths that we were supposed to be going on for about 1.5 years. So 1.5 years is the influence of the transiting north nodes. And the transiting north nodes in 19th of January will be at 29 degrees of Taurus. So the north node will be in Taurus, and then the south node is always opposite that in the corresponding sign of Scorpio. So first of all, if you do have your north node in Taurus, this is a nodal return for you, and it's approximately a 20-year cycle. So it's a fairly significant thing to have happen. Likewise, if you have your north nodes or south nodes in Scorpio, this will be a significant time for you. So I really see this as an axis where whether you've got the south node or north node in either of these, Taurus or Scorpio, this will be a significant time of a change in your destiny path for sure. But certainly when it hits, if the south node, for instance, hits your different angles, like say your ascendant or your midheaven, or say your sun, or if you've got a conglomeration of planets that these nodes hit, this may produce something significant. But really the most significant is going to be for those people who have their nodes, their natal nodes that they're born with, the nodes in either Taurus or Scorpio. I hope that helps. Leave comments if you like, and I will clarify as needed. I did a whole video, by the way, on these north nodes, the transiting north nodes going into Taurus, and the south nodes in Scorpio. I'll leave the link below. It's a long video, but it goes into all the sun signs and ascendants. Should you like to look at it, you may find it quite useful. So this is a money axis. So when we bring it up from the individual and then say, let's go to the collective or on a mundane level, we're really looking at the world and its money, whether it's money we make or money that we invest. Generally speaking, that's what we're talking about here. So you can see that even though this may affect us individually, we're also going to have it affect us probably directly in our pocket, on our money. So I think there's going to be an introduction of a real manifestation, not just talk, of changes in how we deal with money. And so this means changes in our banking systems, this means changes in the currency that we use, also the currency that we value. Taurus is all about values too. And Taurus, at its roots too, is about manifesting. It's the master builder. So I see this really as a building time in our investments, real estate, money, banks, all that type of thing. But we also have Taurus that likes to view the senses as very important. So this is like good food, good wine, could come into play for us individually, for instance, where we really begin to appreciate things like that. And good art, for instance, as well. There may be a resurgence of this type of thing too. Yeah, so that type of thing. It's our value system as well. So it may be a time when us individually we start reviewing what's truly of value to us. And for those that may be affected directly by these north nodes and south nodes, it may be a time of ridding ourselves of things that we used to value that we no longer value, and turning towards those things that we find of value to us. Of course, if we know the nodes are in Scorpio and Taurus, we know that the eclipses will follow in those signs too. So then this obviously brings to light the fact that both Taurus and Scorpio as signs, whether it's ascendant signs or by sun sign, are going to be directly affected in some way, in either a major way or minor way, depending what's happening in an individual chart. So that's the nodes. That's a little bit on the nodes. Check out my link, like I said. I think you might find it very useful. The next thing that we have that's kind of important here, because really in our lifetime, this is going to be a once-in-a-lifetime transit for us, we have transiting Jupiter and Neptune, both in their home signs of Pisces. Jupiter used to be the ancient ruler of Pisces until Neptune came along, and then they ascribed Neptune to Pisces. But these are both now planets in their home sign of Pisces. So this is significant in itself. But the fact that they're together as well in a conjunction is even more significant. So that conjunction of Jupiter and Neptune is going to be on the 9th of April at 23 degrees of Pisces. I would note the month of April as being very important, especially if you're a Pisces, but also the opposite sign of Virgo. There could be some significant things happen for you, hopefully all positive. The 9th of April is a weekend, so I think generally speaking as a collective, all of us can look to maybe see some dreams come true, to feeling very spiritual, to engage in spiritual things. Some of us maybe even be willing to take some risks on something that we don't necessarily have all the details for. So I caution you on that part of it. That's the only negative part of Neptune. It can kind of go both ways. It can bring dreams to come true, miracles to happen, especially with Jupiter in it. But Jupiter also increases everything it touches, and because Neptune is also about deception, and Jupiter is about risks, we could also be inclined, at least some of us, to take risks at this time. So maybe just make sure that they're calculated risks for those that are planning on taking risks in April of 2022. Certainly it's going to increase our awareness of the divine, of Source and God, the universe. It's going to be preceded though by a Mars conjuncting Saturn in Aquarius. So I really saw this as us getting a jolt of energy, maybe in the form of messages from the universe, depending how receptive you are to that type of thing. But it could also be just the breaking up of old structures in order to bring it into the new. So Aquarius is all about, you know, bringing it up into the future. And Mars is all about energy, and Saturn is about structures. So it could be that, you know, just prior to the Jupiter conjunct Neptune at the 9th of April, Mars breaks up some structures, where some structures that have been hanging around forever just get destroyed in some way. But I don't see it as a bad destruction. I see it as, because Aquarius is involved here, it's just sort of like taking that structure, bringing it down, but then bringing it into something that means more to us for our future as mankind. That's what I saw that as. So I think April's going to be a significant month for us, I guess is what I'm saying, individually as well as collectively. And then on the 5th of April, just prior to that whole Jupiter conjunct Neptune, we will have Jupiter itself sextiling Pluto, but of course Neptune's so close by that you could say Neptune will be as well. And so this really is, the sextile is about facilitating and giving opportunities. So I see this April as a very positive month. Yes, maybe some things that were in our past, old structures, are reconstructed into something that's more modern. But I think there's going to be lots of assistance from those in power, that's Pluto, right, to make this a successful transition. So I see April as a significant month for real breakthroughs, breakthrough energy, and kind of reaching out to the other side. I kind of almost saw this hand going through the ethers, that's Neptune, and grabbing what's on the other side that we couldn't see before. But with Jupiter also expanding everything it touches, Neptune's also about dissolving things. So I think this goes back to that whole Mars conjuncting Saturn as well, where you'll have this pulsating, significant energy from Jupiter as well as Neptune, where Jupiter also helps Neptune dissolve those things that really just need to be dissolved and need to go away. Pluto is there to transform our spiritual lives, and so remember that as you're maybe going through some parts of April that may be a little more challenging for you. So I decided to look up, because this is a significant transit, this whole Jupiter conjuncting Neptune, I looked up the Sabian symbols, and I'll put a reference here for those that want to look it up themselves. But the Sabian symbol, you always round up. So this is at 23 degrees of Pisces in some minutes. So you always round it up to 24 degrees. So the Sabian symbol for this is on a small island, surrounded by a vastness of sea. People are seen living in close interaction. So really, I thought that this pointed out to me the symbiotic relationship with nature. So this would be the sea, the earth that these people are living on the island, and then of course all the other people on the island. So it points out that we all have a duty to be what we are as an individual and work together to make things work, but also to do it with regards to nature, and that would be our earth and the sea that surrounds us. So prior to all this, we have a Mars conjuncting Venus, or Venus conjuncting Mars. And I thought it was interesting. So this is in the previous month, and that's March. This Venus-Mars conjunction starts off in Capricorn, conjuncting, and then it makes its way to Aquarius and conjuncts in Aquarius too. So kind of all of March, we have this Venus conjunct Mars. And I saw this also as taking the old and staid way of maybe doing certain things, and that could be relationships, but it can also be our money, and it can also be our values. So those three things, and then bringing them up into the future. So I think really this spoke more to me to our money systems, where in March we may see some literal transition where maybe existing structures take a big step forward, and maybe even announcements to say that, hey, we're moving into the future here. And I think March may represent that too. Individually, this could be us taking our relationships to a more futuristic level, where we look at what can we do to make this better. Instead of living in the existing structures as we've had it so long, let's take this into the future and see what we can do to polish it up. So the eclipse season officially starts on the 30th of April, and we have a new moon in Taurus at 10 degrees. Significant to this, we will also have Uranus there. So the new moon will conjunct Uranus at 14 degrees. So it's within the 5-degree orb. And then at the same time, we've got Venus conjuncting Jupiter, sextiling Pluto. This is just excellent, excellent, excellent stuff. I think this is a supportive new moon on the 30th of April, where collectively as well as individually, we see the future. I mean, with Jupiter involved here, and Pluto is really more like the collective. It really refers to the collective, not just individuals. So I think at this new moon, this is going to usher in some real good building blocks for all of us individually, as well as our institutions, where sure, there may be a little bit of a shakeup or a surprise, but it's going to be tempered by that sextile to Pluto, where I think those in power and powerful energies will be working to put these new structures in place and actually see them manifesting. So we literally could see new, I mean, we call them banks now, but maybe they'll be called something different, put in place around this 30th of April eclipse in Taurus. Remember, Taurus is the master builder. This is a new moon where there's going to be some master building with regards at least to our money systems, but I think it's going to also be to our values, where there's going to be a noticeable shift in what we value. Yeah, and lots of opportunities here to expand our vision of our values, maybe even expand, depending where this falls on your chart, expand your money, right? Jupiter conjuncting Venus, expanding money, expanding love. There could be some powerful love happening at this time too. Look to your chart to see this is a significant eclipse for everybody, but of course especially for Taurus, and then for the opposite sign of Scorpio. This is your new moon, Taurus. So celebrate, because there's something really electric in the air for your sign right now. In May, we are going to have a retrograde of Mercury, and it's going to be in its sign of Gemini. It'll be at 4 degrees of Gemini, and then it'll go direct at 26 degrees of Taurus. So it goes backwards into Taurus. And at that time, when it goes direct, it will be trining Pluto. And I think that's excellent too. So this is kind of a double dose. We've got Mercury going retrograde in its same sign. And so for Geminis, I would say this is a time when you may have to go back and review some things that maybe you didn't pay close attention to. Now, recall, Gemini, that I'm doing this in September 2021, so you still have the North Nodes in your sign. So you should be, during this time period now in May 2022, when you've got your Mercury retrograde, this should be a time of real movement forward. So I suspect this is just going to be you going back to review maybe some of the things, maybe towards the latter part of 2021, because this is at 4 degrees. So the North Nodes in your sign towards the latter part of 2021 would have been around the 4 to 1 degree mark of Gemini. So I would say something maybe happened towards the latter part of 2021 that now in May 2022 you're going to have to go back and maybe do some reviewing of. Typically this is going to be something to do with messages, contracts, that sort of thing. Again, depending where this actually falls in your chart and whether or not you're using this as your ascendant or where your sun is. Okay. But certainly with the direct part in Taurus, trining Pluto, you're going to be able to build, whatever you do review, you're going to have the power to build something as a result of going back and reviewing it. So I don't see this as a bad retrograde, especially for Geminis. Right. Now, Gemini, you also have another retrograde that's going to be happening in 2022. And of course, that's the Mars retrograde at 25 degrees, and that's in November 2022. It doesn't go direct, the Mars retrograde, until the following year, mid-January 2023, at 8 degrees of Gemini. So I would say individually you should look at your charts. Mars, it's every few years Mars goes retrograde. So take a look where Mars at 25 degrees of Gemini, right the way through to 8 degrees of Gemini, is in your individual chart, whether you're a Gemini or not. So typically this is going to be the conjunction, which is going to be Geminis, and then the opposition in terms of a very powerful effect, and that would be Sagittarius. Okay. We have a total full moon eclipse that is going to be at 25 degrees of Scorpio, which will sextile Pluto, so that's great opportunities, on the 16th of May. And at this time, the sun will be conjuncting the north nodes of the moon in Taurus. So this is a full moon, this is letting go. And again, I think from a mundane standpoint, I think this will be our money systems again, where we're going to be looking at truly what is of value to us and what opportunities can we put in place here to make things better for us in the future. Now this could also apply to real estate, so it could mark something happening in our real estate systems, in our investments. So any of the stock exchanges and that could have some kind of dip at this time, around the 16th of May. But with the sextile to Pluto, I would say for those individuals that are on top of this, you may find some benefit. I guess there's always benefit, there's always losers and there's winners when it comes to the stock exchange. But for Scorpios, this could be some ending for you. And it could be that this ending is facilitated through some powerful force, powerful people that have your best interest at heart. Well, with the north nodes of the moon in Taurus, for those Scorpios, it's really pointing to where you're supposed to be going to in this next year and a half, and what you're supposed to be letting go of. So if you're listening to this in advance of the north nodes and south nodes going into both Scorpio and Taurus, especially if you're a Scorpio, start thinking through, Scorpio, where there may be areas of your life that you've been feeling maybe for some time. Remember, this is a 20-year cycle, where maybe you feel you've got to let go of some things, or you need to transform things. I mean, recall that Pluto does rule Scorpio. So Pluto will be influencing you positively during this north node, south node axis cycle, which is going on for 20 years, but the effects will be put in place for the next year and a half, starting in January 2022. So really, Scorpios, you need to be, generally speaking, letting go of some things and pointing to something different that really fulfills you more in terms of your destiny path. And I think that this 16th of May eclipse, as a total eclipse, will be significant for you. All right, in June, we have Venus conjuncting Uranus in Taurus. So again, this may be another shake-up. I see this as a shake-up in our money markets, and maybe a shake-up, unusual breakups for some strange reason in June 2022 that come to light. This will obviously be in Taurus. It could also bring like earth events as well, so it could be earthquakes, for instance, or volcano type eruptions, that type of thing. It can also just bring unusual pairings that may manifest, even though Uranus is part of this mix, where Uranus is conjuncting Venus. Because Uranus is in Taurus, it could be that even though it's a shake-up, it just could mean some unusual pairings happen that are really grounded in true love, right? Don't forget, Taurus also has the love element as part of its properties as well. On the 31st of July 2022, we have Mars conjuncting the north nodes of the moon, as well as Uranus. And then we have a lovely sextile between Neptune and Pluto. So I just see this as a positive energy. Sometimes it can come as a bit of a jolt when you're looking at Mars conjuncting the north nodes of the moon. But this could just be on the surface that there's a significant male that comes to play into our destiny that shakes us up a bit and points to where we need to go. But with that Neptune sextiling Pluto, this is really talking about powerful spiritual energies. This is deep, deep stuff where we're given opportunities to express our spirituality and our compassion. And maybe that's where mankind needs to point itself more to. Individually, you'll have to look in your chart. This is a significant thing. So Mars conjuncting the north nodes of the moon on the 31st of July. Take a look where this is in your chart. On the 1st of October, we have Saturn, which will be retrograde at this time, squaring Uranus. So this is that ongoing square that we had all last year too, in 2021. And so this is kind of one of the last, it does still eke its way out, but in terms of a direct contact. And again, this just says, out with the old, in with the new. And a square just says that you're going to have to work at it. So I cover some of this when I talk next about the individual signs and ascendants and what houses this might be in. But do check to see where Saturn is in your chart. That would be Saturn in Aquarius. And then, of course, Uranus, which will be in Taurus, because it's both those houses where you're being asked to transform the old into the new, right? So Saturn's the old and Uranus is the new. I mean, the other thing, too, that Uranus and Aquarius really represent is our youth. So this could be some kind of transformation for our youth that comes through, you know, the older people. And I'm just thinking off the top of my head here, perhaps this will be the time when institutions, that's Saturn, will be able to give the vaccine to the youth, Uranus. But they may run into a few roadblocks. That's in October 2022. All right, we're up now to November. And the 8th of November, we have a total full moon eclipse at 16 degrees of Taurus, which conjuncts Uranus. So mark this on your calendar. Do check out to see where 16 degrees of Taurus is in your chart, because that's also where Uranus will be. This is a total eclipse. So total eclipses, I feel, are more powerful. And even more powerful, of course, is a full moon. So I would say the 8th of November and the week prior and the week after will be of significance. But let's give it the whole first half of the month of November 2022 may be of great significance. Now this is when we truly may have an earthquake happen, a volcano, anything related to the earth. These could be major winds as well, for that matter. But this is a big ending for folks. So if you have this in your chart somewhere, look to see the house that it's in. And then, of course, the opposite house as well, because that's where the sun will be, right? With a full moon, we have the sun and the moon opposite. So we know the moon is in Taurus, so that means the opposite sign is Scorpio, so the sun is in Scorpio. So we've got both the Scorpio house as well as the Taurus house being affected here by this eclipse. So check both those houses out. And again, leave comments, we can discuss things back and forth. On the 29th of December, we have the last of the Mercury retrogrades, and it will be in Capricorn at 24 degrees. We have on the 31st of December, we have Venus will be conjuncting Pluto, obviously in Capricorn too. So I would say Capricorns as well as Cancers may have some interesting things happen towards the end of December 2022. And there seems to be some powerful transformational love happening here as well with that whole Venus conjuncting Pluto. But it can also go a little bit awry too. You can also get Venus and Pluto coming together where it's very obsessive and possessive. But it can certainly, on the best possible level, bring transformational love into your life. So check out Capricorn there and see where Venus and Pluto might affect you in your houses, your individual houses. Not just that you're a Capricorn, but certainly Capricorn, it'll be affecting you directly. And of course the Mercury retrograde just speaks to the fact that Capricorn, you may be going back and reviewing things in your life to make sure, and perhaps it'll be tied in with love, where on the 29th of December you start to go back to review some things, and then something very powerful happens in your life. Now Venus can also represent money too. So it could be on the 31st of December, kind of from a collective mundane level, that our money systems are truly transformed, right, by Pluto. So that could be happening as well. But I think it would be nice to entertain the idea that over 2022, we will try to bring ourselves, transform ourselves up to a higher spiritual level with great compassion, not only for everybody around us, but for great compassion for ourselves. Maybe that's what we'll be reviewing. Okay, next I'm going to be doing the Ascendants as well as your sun signs. Okay folks, so this is the part where I go into each of your individual Ascendants or sun sign. And as I said earlier in the video, my preference would be you to look at your Ascendant because the Ascendant more clearly and precisely gives you the houses, and the houses always represent areas of your life, going from the 1st house to the 12th house. And then to go into your sun sign, just to get a little bit more color of what may be happening to you too. All right, as usual, these are energies that I see. I'm just pulling out the main events that I see happening for each of your signs. But you know, as I go through 2022 with my monthly videos, I'll certainly be talking a lot more as well. So when we look at the signs that'll be really prominently affected this year, 2022, we're really looking at 3 signs. And that's mainly because we have the north nodes and south nodes by transit being in Taurus and Scorpio respectively. So obviously that brings up Taurus and Scorpio as important ascendants as well as sun signs. But we also have that important once in a lifetime event, which of course is the Jupiter and Neptune in Pisces. So that makes Pisces very important too. You'll be super psychic and intuitive, Pisces, all through 2022. I don't care what degree you have your sun or your ascendant at. But we also have Capricorn that's still in the mix here. I know Capricorn's probably tired of being transformed by Pluto, but Pluto is still going to be staying in your sign for a few more years, Capricorn. And so that Pluto influence is going to be there. Now, really, it's going to be for the latter birthdays in Capricorn that'll be affected. Most of the early birthdays now have already had their transforming. So this will be more like from 24 to 28 degrees. So if you've got anything Capricorn, say your sun is at that, you're still due to go through some transformation in your life. So that's just the sort of intro here for you. So let's start off with Aries. So Aries, we have a few things happening to you. We have Pluto, which is at 25 to 28 degrees, will be squaring Aries, right? So see where this falls in your chart. If you've got anything at 25 to 28 degrees Aries, you'll have an exact square. And you'll also have, you know, at the end of 2021, we had a Venus retrograde that really doesn't go direct until January 2022, so I'm including it here for you too. So I would say that this could have affected you directly by square. And so this could be your money, it could be a particular female in your life, it could be that in December you had some past love come into your life, and in January 2022 you make some decisions regarding that. It can mean money as well, but generally speaking, Venus retrogrades refers to either a very good friend coming back into our life or a past love coming into our life as well. So that could play into January for you for some reason. Now it's by square, so this means it's going to be challenging for you to incorporate the energies for you. And then this, of course, is in your 10th house. So I would say this could be something to do with your career. And maybe in December 2021, you start to go through a major review of, is this money I'm making really worth it? Or can I transform this into something that means more to me, that's more value to me? That's Venus too. Is this money that I'm making of value to me? And maybe it isn't. Is this love I've got in my life of value to me? And that in January 2022, you may come to some decisions. Now, your ruler, which is Mars, will go retrograde at 25 degrees of Gemini, and it will sextile your Aries, and this will involve your 3rd house. So this is all about communications, literally. So the 3rd house is about communications, and then of course Gemini is communications. So 3rd house also has siblings in the mix here, so it could be you have many more opportunities to be in communication with your siblings or with your general neighborhood at this time. But you could just be having to review contracts or papers of some sort, or communications maybe that you have to go back on, that you have to put energy into going back and looking at things that you had done previously. And that's around the end of October 2023. That Mars will then eventually go direct. So this is a long influence, this Mars. You having to look at things in communication. So it's going back on communications and or reviewing communications, that type of thing. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. It can also be a time when you say, how am I communicating, or how am I presenting myself? And maybe you decide to go back and do some courses where you up your game with regards to how you present yourself, how you speak. Maybe even how you think. Yeah. You have Chiron in Aries right now, and so this is going to be having you wanting to promote your own healing. And so you won't have this come again for another 50 years. So depending how old you are, this may be, generally speaking, it'd be once in a lifetime transit. So take advantage of Chiron being in Aries right now and helping promote inner healing. So anything that, say, comes across your way that helps you heal yourself, you know, physician heal yourself type thing, go for it, because you'll have lots of really good energies around you that can help you out. We're going to have a Mercury retrograde in Libra, which will be opposed to you, Aries, and that starts on the 1st of October. So this is another reviewing. Now, this may have you reviewing some kind of legal things. That's Libra is legal things, it's the diplomatic service. It's that type of thing. I get the feeling that this may be you having to look at some kind of legal type things and reviewing those back and forth. Again, I don't see this as a negative thing. I just see that you're going to have to be doing some of this stuff. But it could also be you having to exert some diplomacy, that other people request this diplomacy of you. Diplomacy and tact are requested of you at this time. It could have you reviewing your finances for some reason, and maybe putting some legal language around your finances. This could equal you decide that you're going to put a will together in October. Not such a bad idea. Okay, good luck, Aries. Our next sign is Taurus. Now Taurus, you know that you've had Uranus in your sign for a while, and it'll be in there for another little while. So Uranus is really shaking you up, breaking up things that no longer serve you, that type of thing. And it will be there from 10 to approximately 18 degrees of Taurus. So Taurus, you can take a look at where your sun is, if this is your sun or your ascendant that you're looking at. Do you have anything at 10 to 18 degrees? If you do, you will be affected by Uranus shaking things up. For those of you that are early Taurus, you may have already gone through some shake-ups or wake-ups. Now Saturn in Aquarius will be squaring Uranus. Obviously Uranus is your first house, or your ascendant. But Saturn is in the 10th house. So this really speaks to you, again, sort of taking your career into the future. So there may be a few challenges for you, especially if you've got anything at 10 to 18 degrees of Taurus. But it's really trying to get you to come out of the old and into the new with regards to your career. So certainly if anything becomes highlighted that you have to let it go, or you're being forced to let go of something, please let it go. And try to look at this as, well, what can I do here? This is going in my career. So what can I take from what I've done and make it into something new? That's the idea behind this square for you, Taurus. Now the transiting north nodes of the moon are obviously in your sign. They'll be there for 1.5 years from January 2022. And then, of course, the corresponding south nodes will be in Scorpio. So this highlights your first house as well as your 7th house of partnerships. So you may see some shake-ups and wake-ups, especially in your 7th house, where you may be asked to either let go of something or transform it into something that works better for you. So the you part is having the north nodes in your sign, asking you to really take care of yourself and to forge your destiny path, and let go of maybe you've been aiming your destiny with a partner, or whatever the partner wanted to do, you did. And this may be a time when you say, I've got to shift that compass needle and make it more about me too. I have to incorporate myself in here. So there may be some activities around this over the next 1.5 years for you, Taurus. And it doesn't have to be bad. But remember, all the eclipses are going to be in your sign, Taurus, as well as your opposite sign of Scorpio. But also, when we look at, I would say, the eclipses that are going to be happening in Taurus, your sign, remember that Taurus is a fixed earth sign. So it likes to stabilize things. So I think of all eclipses, the ones that are happening in Taurus could actually provide a stabilizing factor for you. So that's kind of the benefit of having these in Taurus, just generally speaking, but especially for you, Taurus. Yeah. Okay. Good luck, Taurus. For Gemini, the things that stood out for me were a couple things. So you've got a Mercury retrograde and you've got a Mars retrograde. The Mercury retrograde in Gemini will be on the 10th of May at 4 degrees of Gemini. And then the Mars retrograde will be on the 30th of October at 25 degrees of Gemini. And then it'll go direct, Mars, next year, the following year, which will be January 2023. So this effect of Mars in your sign retrograde will be significant for the latter part of 2022 and then into 2023. I would say, generally speaking, this is just going to have you reviewing a lot of the things that you may have either changed or instituted back in 2021 when the north nodes were indeed in your sign, Gemini. So it's just a review of maybe, I would say, tweaking things. That's the kind of message I'm getting for you, Gemini, is that tweaking things, especially with regards to Gemini type things. So that's communications, that's contracts, that's messages, that's the way you think. So maybe something that happened or evolved over 2021, you now have to re-review and see how can I incorporate that new way of thinking, or that new way of writing, or that new way of speaking more clearly into myself. And Mars retrograde will give you that energy to do it, right? And then the Mercury retrograde will just, I think, kind of just highlight the things in May, and then you may get some active ways of instituting these changes in October. You do have a square happening with this whole conjunction of Jupiter conjunct Neptune on the 8th of April, and that involves your 10th house. So it could be that in order for you to make a dream job come true, you have to make some allowances with the square. I don't think this is necessarily a bad thing, but it does mean that you may have to just incorporate other people, other things in your career to make things work for yourself. That's what I get here. It's some kind of adjustment in your 10th house that you'll have to make with the square of Jupiter and Neptune here. And I see this more as you looking at your future and deciding if this job or this new career is going to work for me, I need to put some maybe other things in place that take care of my future. I think you'll know what that means to you individually, Geminis. You have your new moon, Gemini, at 9 degrees of Gemini on the 30th of May. So the 30th of May marks your new year, Gemini. All right, Cancer. So on the 29th of January 2022, you've got a full moon at 27 degrees of Cancer. And what's important to this is that although the moon will be in Cancer, it'll be opposed, right? The sun, which will be in Capricorn, and that will be conjunct Pluto. So I would say this marks an important ending for you, Cancer. And it may be in the realm of partnerships, whether it's marriage partnerships or business partnerships, but it could also be clients, right? The 7th house can represent clients too. So maybe some powerful transformational changes will happen with regards to your client base, your business partnerships, or your marriage partnerships. You also would have been affected by this Venus retrograde that happened at the end of December through January 2022. It could be money or love that's involved for you, where you've had to take a good look at maybe your love life and or your money, and make some changes there, probably manifesting in real things in January 2022. This whole Jupiter conjuncting Neptune in April of 2022 trines your 9th house. And I thought that was a lovely energy type thing, where I felt, because the 9th house can also be, you know, our higher levels of consciousness, I felt that that worked really well. So you may find, Cancer, that in April of 2022, your mind goes up to a higher level of thinking, and you just start maybe manifesting messages from source, where you take on just your whole idea of looking at life, and your legacy just takes on a different sheen for you, and you start literally living in a higher level of consciousness. Now this can obviously be a process as well, but it may culminate in something real and tangible in April 2022 for you. Pluto is going to be opposite of Cancer, between the degrees of 26 degrees and 28 degrees of Capricorn. So certainly Cancer, if you're towards the end of Cancer, you may be still in that transformational stage, or if you've got any planets that are at 26 to 28 degrees of Cancer, there'll be a direct opposition, so there may be some challenges that you have to go through. And certainly if it's your sun, You may have people of power just challenging you or questioning you or asking you to validate maybe some of your opinions or views. Your new moon in Cancer is going to be on the 29th of June at 7 degrees of Cancer. So that will be your new start. In March, we have Venus conjuncting Mars in Capricorn. So this could again highlight partnerships, business and or marriage partnerships, or your clients. If you do have clients, this could be a real increase in money and clients coming your way in March that's beneficial to you. It could be a new partner that you meet. It could be a new source of income. Yeah, on the 3rd of March, we will also have Venus and Mars at 0 degrees of Aquarius. So it goes from Capricorn conjunction into Aquarius for days, right up to the 20th. So I thought that was really interesting too, that this sort of Venus conjunct Mars kind of goes through a lot of March, whether it's conjunction in Capricorn and or Aquarius. I thought that was quite interesting. So that goes from your 7th house then into your 8th house. So 8th house is sex, it's our psychological selves, it's our investments, our shared resources. So it could be that your sexual life picks up in March, perhaps through meeting somebody new and connecting with them. Or money that comes your way early on in March, you're able to use as investments later on in March in your 8th house. Good luck to you. All right, Leo, we have Uranus at 10 to 18 degrees of Taurus. Now that'll be squaring 10 to 18 degrees of Leo in the 10th house. So this is your career. So there may be some challenges where unexpected things happen in your career that cause you to have to readjust things. It's difficult to see unless I see a real chart to see what this manifests for you. But the eclipses this year will be in your 10th and 4th houses, so you can expect some changes in both your career as well as in your home. And these will be transformational changes because we've got the north nodes and the south nodes there too, setting up a whole 20-year new cycle for you in these houses, just generally speaking. To be of significance, they have to hit an angle, like an ascendant or a midheaven, or your sun. On the 31st of July, we have Mars will be conjuncting Uranus and the north nodes of the moon. And so this will also be forming a square to your sign, Leo. So I would say that this is a shakeup of some sort that's going to come your way, but the shakeup is all about getting you on your destiny path. And there'll be lots of energy there where maybe some unexpected events will happen. But as they shake out over the remainder of the year, you'll see that those shakeups were really meant for you in your career zone to get you on the real destiny path that you're supposed to be on, that maybe you've not been able to get on. And in August, we'll have Uranus conjuncting the north nodes of the moon for a while. So this may continue through August as well. So this may be a process that you have to go through. I mean, it could be something as simple as that, you know, superiors change, or that they leave unexpectedly, or new ones are put in place. It could be something like that too. But there's energy, maybe in the form of a male, that brings an unexpected element to your career, but it's all about shaping you towards your destiny path in your career. Your new moon is going to be at 5 degrees of Leo on the 28th of July. So your new year starts at the 28th of July, Leo. All right, Virgo. Virgo, I saw this Mars retrograde. In Gemini, it will square Virgo at 25 degrees of a Gemini, 25 degrees of Virgo. So see if those are direct hits for you in your chart. That's going to be in the 30th of October. So this will have you, this is also in your career sector. So this could have you having to go back and review things. It's as simple as that. But it's going to last for quite a while. It'll last, this Mars retrograde will last into January 2023. So it could have you reviewing details. You know, Virgo's all about details and facts. So it could just, in your career, you have to go back on some maybe information or factual pieces of information that take up until January 2023 to get them all sorted out. That's how I see this playing out. It's about the details. It's about going back in the details and perhaps correcting some things. That's just going to take a little while. Now, this whole Jupiter conjunct Neptune in Pisces will be opposite your sign, Virgo. And I think this could bring in some magic and miracles your way. It's an opposition, I know, so it can also, especially with the Neptune part of it, increase some kind of deception. It can also increase sort of like a tiredness with Neptune being in opposition there. But I think at its highest, Virgo, this can bring you unexpected magic and miracles coming your way. And this is in your 7th house, so this is partnerships. This is business partnerships, clients, marriage partnerships. So there could be some shimmering magic happening in that area of your life. Just take care with the rose-colored glasses. There's nothing wrong with enjoying miracles and magic, by the way. This is a once-in-a-lifetime thing, so I would say enjoy what you can enjoy, but just make sure that you check your facts out. And knowing you, Virgo, you will. You have a Mercury retrograde that starts in Libra on the 2nd of October, but that Mercury retrograde in Libra ends up at 24 degrees of Virgo going direct. So check to see if you've got anything maybe around 24 degrees of Virgo, because this, what ostensibly starts off as a Mercury retrograde in Libra, ends in your sign. And so that will have something to do with you, Virgo, in terms of the retrograde itself. Maybe something connected with the law and the details in some legal papers maybe are going to come your way that are important in October 2022. So your new moon of Virgo is going to be on the 27th of August at 4 degrees of Virgo. If you've got something at 4 degrees of Virgo, this will be a significant new moon for you. So Libra, you have anything that's at 25 to 28 degrees of Capricorn, which of course will be Pluto, it will be squaring your sign, and the Capricorn part is in your 4th house. So let's say in 2022, you may just have some challenges with regards to transforming your home. It can also involve your mother. It can involve your habits. So I would say just go with the flow on this. If there's some transformation that needs to happen in your home, work with those energies to transform it, because Pluto is a pretty powerful force. You want that on your side. And if you are, for instance, transforming your home, say rebuilding things, making it better, this is an ideal year to do that. Just make sure that you check any of the contractors that you use. I would say, with Pluto involved here, certainly go for those in authority when you pick people to say transform your home, literally, and yeah, go with those in power that you can check their background on to make sure that you're not running into challenges, because it's a square, right? So it's possible that you may have some challenges with regards to that transformation. So head it up by making sure you do your diligence to check the backgrounds for anyone that you are actually going to use to help transform that home. Or any details with regards to, contracts that you sign with people. Read the details. So you also, this Venus retrograde that happened at the end of December 2021, that goes direct, it also is affecting your 4th house as well. So perhaps at the end of December, right the way through January 2022, there were maybe some money issues or money that you had to get together to make some things and changes, transformation in your 4th house. Maybe even buying a house. It could also involve that there was just some challenges in it, but stick with it. If this is the house that you want, or it's your dream house, just check all the details. And if you've got to comply with certain regulations, comply with them. But you also have a Mercury retrograde. Now it starts in Aquarius, but it goes to go direct in February 2023 in Capricorn. So this will also affect us. I see this kind of tie in with potentially contracts of some sort, and anything written, any messages, that sort of thing. Just make sure everything's clear with regards to things in your home. So just generally speaking, things in your home. I'm thinking of contracts and that, but it could be that people in your home, maybe there's communications that aren't going correctly. Or even like with that Mercury retrograde starting in Aquarius, it could be some kind of electronic equipment too. So do take care of any electronic equipment in your home and make sure they're up to par at this time as well. So this is the early part of 2022 we're talking about. We have Chiron that is in Aries. It'll be opposite your sign, and so it'll be the 7th house. So I see this as, I mean, Chiron ostensibly is all about healing. And so there could be, if you allow yourself, some real healing in partnerships for you, and or even clients, if you have them, could somehow set up some kind of, two-way type of energy where your clients can actually help or facilitate healing you. But really, I think this is partnerships. Could provide some healing balm for you at this time. And this could be business partnerships as well. Perhaps you form new business partnerships that you link together to help each other. That could be also in the mix here for you too. We have Saturn all year in Aquarius, and it will be trining your sign, and this will be in your 5th house. The 5th house is all about true love. It is about children. It's about your own business. But at its core, the 5th house really asks you to be your authentic self, your authentic creative self. So this year may see you being highly creative by being your true authentic self. And perhaps as a result of that, if you're looking for it, true love may come your way. Perhaps even children will manifest for you as well. In fact, when I think about it with Libra, if you're, say, looking to adopt, Libra is the law, so it could be that the law works well with you to manifest, and that would be Saturn, part of a structure that's a child. So it could be a good year for that if you're looking for that, Libra too. Yeah. Good luck, Libra. Scorpio. Well, we know Scorpio, the south nodes of the moon, are in your sign from January 2022 for a year and a half. Now, on a certain level, with the south nodes we are asked to let go of things. So if you're listening to this early on, Scorpio, start thinking through maybe some areas of your life that you need to let go of. If you're looking at this for your sun sign, Scorpio, take a look to see where your sun falls in your chart, because that's where the south nodes will be operating with regards to asking you to let go. But I really see this south node, north node as an axis. So you could have some major changes happen in your life. But for you, that change may only truly happen when you let go of things. So do see where your sun is, Scorpio, in your own individual chart, because that will indicate the area where you may need to either let go of things or transform those things for yourself. This will be different, of course, if you're looking at this for your ascendant, because this will be conjuncting your ascendant. So a true year and a half, Scorpio, of lots of changes to get you on a new destiny path. And I think that's very encouraging for you too. Yeah. Now, in your opposite sign, if you've got anything from 10 to 18 degrees of Taurus or 10 to 18 degrees of Scorpio, that's where Uranus will be. And it will be opposing your sign. So this could be, a shake-up or a wake-up call. And of course, being in your opposite sign, if we take Scorpio as your ascendant, the opposite of that, of course, is going to be your 7th house. Now this could be that someone very unusual comes into your life, or that unexpectedly you get married. or unexpectedly a partner turns up that you're just really attracted to. But it could be someone that's unusual and not your usual type of person with Uranus in the mix here. Or, conversely, it could be a time of big breakups for you as well. And that could be breakups to do with business partnerships, especially since this is a money axis, right? There's a money axis with Scorpio and Taurus. But there's some shakeup that's happening there. You could also be getting some kind of enlightenment as well. Say you've got clients, they could be bringing some true enlightenment for you as well that's unexpected. So those are the positive signs of something like this. Now you have this Jupiter conjunct Neptune, which is kind of a once in a lifetime for us, in Pisces, trining your sign Scorpio. And it will be acting on your 5th house of true love. And this is especially prominent around the 8th of April when Jupiter conjuncts Neptune. But you can take the whole month of April 2022 as potentially bringing in a real, true love for you that you feel is your soulmate. Now with Neptune involved, I always caution you, rose-colored glasses may be on, and maybe when those rose-colored glasses come off, you will still see this person as your soulmate. But just do your own fact-checking, Scorpio. But this could be a truly magical time with regards to someone totally ideal appears in your life in April that you just feel is your soulmate. And magic and miracles can happen in that area of your life. Now, the 5th house is also children. So I guess if you truly are looking to have children or want children, those could also potentially manifest at this time too for you. And or if you do have children, this could be a time of your children having some miracles happen to them too, right? Yeah. Or you could, if you wanted to start your own business, maybe you start your own business in a metaphysical or spiritual type business as well. But it does increase your desire to take risks, and with the trine, those risks may actually pay off for you. That's about it for you here, Scorpio. I would just say go with the flow over the next year and a half with regards to letting go of the things that just seem to be exiting your life. Don't cling to them, and instead look towards the new horizon for yourself with regards to what should be in your destiny path, where you should be on in your destiny path, and put your energy into that. Let those things that just don't serve you anymore, let them go. That's the most important thing for you, Scorpio. And with the eclipses in your sign, whether they're in Scorpio or in your opposite sign of Taurus, look to see where those eclipses fall. And if they fall in any significant natal planets, those will be more significant for you than if they don't. But certainly there's going to be some changes happening in your life, and I wish you all the best, Scorpio. All right, Sagittarius. Well, you've just gone through letting go a lot of stuff in 2021 with the south nodes that were in your sign. So we have a couple things happening to you. I think you've got a nice trine here happening with Chiron being in Aries, and it's in your 5th house. So this could have you, I think, healing. There may be a partnership, a love that comes into your life that gives you true healing for yourself. But it could be that you start expressing your authentic self and you start getting this real healing energy coming as a result of it. You could start your own business, maybe even a Chiron related business, which would be healing of some sort, where that becomes very successful. It's a trine, so this is successful, positive energy for yourself. Children could become more important for you and give things to you, give you good energy, that type of thing. But this Jupiter conjunct Neptune is going to be squaring your sign, Sagittarius, in your 4th house, especially during the month of April. So I would say that you're going to be inclined to want to take risks. That's that Jupiter part. But with this square, I would caution that you take calculated risks, especially when it comes to 4th house matters. And those 4th house matters are your home. So I would say this is not the year to take risks with regards to your home. Be especially conscious of what you're doing in your home. This may involve your mother as well. It can be your habits too, where you may be deciding that you need to change some of your habits and improve them. But certainly your home may need some adjustments, and I would not take risks in the home this particular year. We have a Mercury retrograde on May 10th at 4 degrees of Gemini, and we also have a Mars retrograde, which will be at 25 degrees of Gemini on the 30th of October. So both these retrogrades affect your 7th house. So between May and the end of October, actually going into January 2023, when the Mars retrograde goes direct, you will have to be dealing with something to do with partnerships. And it'll probably to do with some kind of maybe contracts, some kind of written work, some kind of energy, Mars's energy too, where you're going to have to go back over things. So because it's in Gemini, and Gemini is about information, I would say generally speaking, between May and October of 2022, you're going to be required to go back over some information. And it doesn't have to be a bad thing. It may be that you put energy into clearing things up. And so that in January 2023, all the things are cleared up with regards to any kind of communications. But be aware of the fact that between May and October of 2022, there will be something that you have to go back on with regards to messages, communications, written things. Maybe even your thoughts will be cast back. And it may have something to do with last year, 2021, where the nodes were, right? The north nodes of the moon were highlighting Gemini at that time. Yeah. You have your new moon Sagittarius on the 23rd of November at 1 degree of Sagittarius. So certainly if you've got anything at 1 degree of Sagittarius, this is a significant new moon for you on the 23rd of November. So happy new moon to you, Sagittarius. For Capricorn, well, Capricorn, you're still in the throes of it. Pluto's going to remain in your sign for some time, but it's at the latter degrees now, kind of 25 to 28 degrees of Capricorn. So most of Capricorns are out of the big transformation. It's just the latter part of Capricorn birthdays. But on the 29th of Jan 2022, we have the Venus retrograde that started in December 2021 going direct at 11 degrees of Capricorn. So see if you've got anything at 11 degrees of Capricorn. This could be some great news with regards to money and or love that are pushed forward at the end of January 2022. On the 3rd of March, we have a Venus conjuncting Mars in your sign, Capricorn, and it'll conjunct Pluto. Well, I would say this is a major transformation of your love life, major transformation of your money. So March could herald a great time for some Capricorns with regards to their love life and their money, because Pluto is about money too and power. So this could just give power to your love life and transformation. So perhaps some people will be getting married in March that are Capricorns, but it can also have you transforming your money, perhaps through powerful institutions or powerful people. But that conjunction in March in Capricorn goes on for a few days afterwards in Aquarius. So I thought that was interesting too, because then that'll go into your 2nd house, right? If we're looking at this as your ascendant. And so that could say you could, if it's money, for instance, you could just be making new money later on in March. So maybe something happens early in March to you personally that leads to maybe a new way of making income for some Capricorns. Mercury retrograde on the 29th of December 2022, it's our last Mercury retrograde. In 2022 we'll be at 24 degrees of Capricorn, and of course that's pretty close to Pluto. Not exact, but it's on there. So this is a transformational Mercury retrograde for you, Capricorn, on the 29th of December. So that's just before the new year. But on the new year, on the 31st of December, we have Venus will be conjuncting Pluto. So we end the year, all of us, with Venus conjuncting Pluto. But for you, Capricorn, this is major transformation of your love life and or your money, or it could be your value system too, but it's a big transformation for you. I think this is a tie-up for you in some respects, with Pluto coming close to leaving your sign in a few years. I think this may be just a powerful event. Now, transformation can go either way, right? You could have a transformational new love come into your life. You could transform your existing life, your love life, or you could have a big turnaround with regards to your finances, right? Well, good luck to you, Capricorn. For Aquarius, we have Uranus, which rules your sign, is going to be from 10 to 18 degrees of Taurus, but it'll be squaring Saturn and your sign, Aquarius, and it'll involve your 4th house. So it could be that there are just some unexpected challenges in your home that you have to deal with. Maybe it's something as simple as your structure of your home has to be changed. Maybe there's some cracks somewhere that come to light in 2022 that you say, whoa, it's a good thing I saw that, I need to get that fixed. It could be that people leave your home. It could be that unexpected people come into your home. And this could manifest something like, you know, children are leaving your home. They leave the nest. It could be something as simple as that. But some kind of shake-up with regards to your home is manifesting here for you. Especially if you've got anything from 10 to 18 degrees of Taurus and or Aquarius. So Saturn's going to be in your sign, Aquarius, and I see this as a positive thing. Saturn is certainly bringing lessons for you, life lessons for you, but it's also bringing stability. So maybe, and this is a 30-year cycle, right? Saturn takes 30 years to go around the zodiac. So 30 years ago, you had Saturn in Aquarius. So depending how old you are, you can look back 30 years ago and see what was happening at that time. But this is a stabilizing factor. Because Uranus rules Aquarius, and Uranus is about shaking up, waking up, I see Saturn as stabilizing that surprising, unexpected energy. So even though you may have surprises and unexpected things happening to you, Aquarius, that Saturn's going to be stabilizing them. So it's like, okay, there's change here, and then Saturn steps in and says, yeah, but we can take that change and incorporate it in here and make it stable. So it's like, I feel it's like shoring up the changes that come your way, rolling with the punches. Now, the north nodes of the moon in Taurus for next year and a half, from January 22, will be squaring your sign. Now, really, you have to have something significant that's going to be in Aquarius, like maybe when your sun in Aquarius or your ascendant is squared by the north nodes. There may be a little bit of an adjustment that you have to make with regards to your destiny. It all depends what it is and degrees and how it's affecting you, so that's why you have to have your individual chart. But I'm just giving you that as a general, that it's a square, not a favorable trine or a conjunction. It's maybe some challenges for you. And of course that goes back to your 4th house of home. And it's also the mother, so the 4th house is also your mother and your habits too. So we know that we're going to have another Saturn square Uranus, and that will be kind of October, and that will also involve your home. So you can probably look at October, Aquarius, as a culmination time with regards to maybe some final changes and challenges that you've had in the home that kind of start dissipating after October. So that's something you can look forward to. Venus and Mercury will both go retrograde in Capricorn, January to February, and that will be in your 12th house. And I thought that was interesting too. So this says to me, there could be some 12th houses kind of hidden things. It can be hospitals, it can be prisons, ashrams, it can be secrets. You know, it's our real deep inner shadow side of ourselves in some respect, but it's also the metaphysical. It's kind of where magic and miracles can happen, right? In the 12th house. But generally speaking, I think that this could have some secrets come to light for you that were not expected. It could be that you meet a new love, but you either can't communicate with them. So we're talking about the Venus and the Mercury retrograde here in your 12th house. between January and February 2022, where for some reason you either can't bring this love, you can't announce this new love, maybe this person's going through a divorce or isn't available, or they live at a distance. There's some kind of difficulty with regards to communicating with someone that you love. Now obviously this ends, but just maybe in January, February, the 12th house, like I said, will be accentuated. It could also have you two communicating and visiting maybe somebody in the hospital at this time. It doesn't speak to you going in the hospital. Yeah. Now, you will have, yeah, so I think that's it. Well, you have your new moon. So there's a new moon in Aquarius on the 11th of February at 23 degrees of Aquarius. So if you've got your sun, say, at 23 of Aquarius, or your ascendant, this will be a significant new moon. And it sets up a whole year of really nice things for yourself. When you've got the new moon itself conjuncting either your ascendant or your sun sign, it's just a very beneficial energy for you. So good luck, Aquarius. So we end this video with Pisces. And Pisces, wonderful Pisces, you have Jupiter and Neptune in your sign. And Jupiter conjuncts Neptune on the 8th of April for you. But this is a supremely positive thing for you. This will bring you great insights of where you can truly see your future ahead for yourself. It will give you buckets of intuition and psychic perceptions. So you may find an extremely heightened sensitivity to everybody around you. And I would say just be aware of that and protect yourself. Maybe withdraw sometimes when you think it's just too much for you. And that could especially be in April when we've got this conjunction. Now the other thing that this speaks to too is, of course, Jupiter expanding and taking risks, and Neptune maybe having some deception. So on the negative side, this could have you saying, oh wow, I think I can make this happen. This is what's going to happen here. I know I can take this risk and reach for that dream. And I'm not saying don't do that. I'm just saying do a check with somebody, or check the facts on that before you jump. Because this is the supreme transit of taking risks when you don't know what you're jumping into, and maybe be disillusioned at the end of it. But don't take it as a negative. If this is truly a dream that you want to make come true, just check in with someone you trust, check the facts behind the risk, and then go for it. Because it can go either way. So I'm just giving you, the whole 360 here, Pisces, so that you are also protected when you need to be protected. But this is supreme dreams coming true at the highest level. So, wow, Pisces, I hope some Pisces get in touch with me, especially around this April time period, and let me know what manifests for you, because this is a once in a lifetime, right? This will not be coming back in our lifetime. And because this kind of ties in with other aspects too, this could be a significant time for you, Pisces, all Pisces. Now, we do have Mars retrograde squaring you, Pisces, at 25 degrees of Gemini on the 30th of October. And this Mars retrograde lasts right the way through the first month of January 2023. So I would say this may tie into any risks that you're taking, and Gemini is all about checking the facts out. The retrograde is going to have you, with Mars, putting energy into checking out the facts, checking out the way you think about something, the messages that may be coming in for you, the contracts that may be coming in for you. Well, this is on the 30th of October through to January 2023. So it may be that there are some risks that you take in April, or some dream that you want to make come true. But then in October through January next year, you have to put some energy into really carefully looking at the fine details of the contract, of the messages, of the facts. I think individually you'll know what this is. Now you've got the north nodes of the moon sextiling your third house at this time. And so this may facilitate the communication, the sextiles opportunities. So perhaps for some Pisces, there will be an opportunity for you to get on your destiny path as a result of taking some risk with regards to a dream that you want to make come true, that is shimmering in front of you. Now the eclipses will trine from the south node. It'll trine your 9th house, Scorpio. And so this just gives you positive energy of letting go maybe letting go of some philosophies that just you've held forever that don't fit into your life anymore. So that just helps facilitate. So all the eclipses that happen basically in Scorpio could facilitate you just letting go some of your beliefs and philosophies that you say, you know, that doesn't mean much for me anymore, and you let them go. And then, of course, you have the sextile from the north nodes in Taurus. So both the south nodes and the north nodes of the moon for the next year and a half, Pisces, can really facilitate the whole process of letting go of old belief systems and philosophies, and then actually instituting new ones that are at a much higher level for yourself, that tie in compassion and spirituality into your mix of your destiny path. I'm excited for all Pisces. So the new moon, Pisces, is on the 13th of March this year, and it's at 23 degrees of Pisces, and it conjuncts Neptune, but it squares Mars. So look to see if you've got anything significant around 23-degree Pisces. Certainly if your sun or your moon falls there, or your ascendant, this will be a significant new moon and new start for you in March of this year, especially since it conjuncts Neptune. Great spirituality, all-encompassing love, great compassion, right? Now the square to Mars just says you may not have the energy to institute it all. So it may mean, Pisces, not, you know, there's that sort of compassion fatigue. That's the phrase that's coming to my mind with that square to Mars. Compassion fatigue could come up for some at this new moon, where instituting new things is going to require too much of your energy, and you may have to reconsider what you actually do with regards to using your energy at this time and not overdoing it, giving to others when you should be giving to yourself. Okay. All right, that wraps this up for my 2022 forecast. I hope you enjoy it. And as always, like I said, I love to do your chart. Contact me at my email, elpisastrology@gmail.com. Go to my website, which is elpisastrology.com, and see my services. I am going to be doing next, after this, my October 2021 forecast, so stay tuned for that. Take care of yourself. I'm sending everybody lots of love and lots of positive energy. I see 2022 as a pretty darn good year, especially with regards to manifesting things, manifesting our dreams, and putting reality and structure around those things so it becomes more tangible for us. Bye for now.